As a writer, one of my most important tools is my writer's notebook. I like small writer's notebooks, and you might think big would be better because you can put more in it. So take a guess why I like small. If you guessed because it's portable, you're right. I take a writer's notebook with me wherever I go, whether it's to the grocery store, to a friend's house, on a walk around the block, to the library. I always have one with me. Here's a little secret. I never get great ideas when I'm sitting at my desk. I get them when I am observing, when I'm listening and watching. And so it's really important for me to always have a notebook with me. I can write down anything that pops into my mind or that pops into my field of vision. Every novel that I've written has started with an idea that I jotted down in my writer's notebook. Once I was in the library reading a nonfiction book about Orville and Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers, the ones who invented the airplane. And this book gave a lot of information about how close they were as brothers. They were really good friends as brothers. And I loved that. And I thought to myself, I want to make up a book about two brothers who are also really good friends. And I'll call it The Riot Brothers. And I just grabbed my writer's notebook and I wrote down The Riot Brothers. That stuck in my brain. By the time I got home from the library, I was working on a new book that would become actually a whole series called the Riot Brothers series. There's another reason why I like small. I love that satisfaction of finishing something. And even if it's just a writer's notebook, I love getting to that last page and writing my last thing on it and then knowing that I get to start a new one. So that can be really helpful. Just get a small notebook and you'll have that satisfaction of filling it up. As you might guess, I have a lot of these small notebooks. I mean a lot. Boxes and boxes filled with them. I tend to like plain ones rather than fancy ones. And you might think fancy is better because fancy will make you more inspired. But for me, it's the opposite. If a book is too pretty or too expensive, I'm actually inhibited. That means I don't really want to write in it because I feel like everything that I write in it should be perfect or should be beautiful. Plain and inexpensive helps to give me permission to experiment, to make mistakes, to get messy. And that's what you need to do in order to be creative. I also write poems and songs and plays and more. My writer's notebook is the starting place for all of those things. There's something in particular about songwriting and poetry that I think lends itself to the writer's notebook habit, which is that I take that notebook with me and I'll be taking a walk and somehow just the rhythm of my footsteps will get a rhythm going in my mind and then a song will come out. I'll grab my writer's notebook and write it down as fast as I can. As you can imagine, what comes out isn't necessarily perfect. In fact, it's far from it. My rough drafts are always really bad. The writer's notebook is the place for those first drafts. It's the place for the exploration. And I know that I'm going to need to go in and revise. Sometimes I will revise right in my writer's notebook, and sometimes I'll take it out and create a new file and start working on it. What goes in a writer's notebook? Take a guess. notebook is a great place for collecting your ideas so that you won't forget them. But there's more to it than that. The habit of keeping a notebook is a way of making you think like a writer. Keeps me on the lookout for things that I want to write down. If you don't have a writer's notebook, you can always make one. So grab yourself some paper, cut it whatever size you want, and you can staple it down the center, or you can sew it if you're in the mood. You can put a cover on it. You can get in the habit of thinking like a writer and of taking your notebook with you everywhere you go.